TC America, powered by Skip Barber, is back for the second race of this doubleheader weekend here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Yesterday saw Braden Arthur rebound from a disastrous Sebring to take his fourth win of the season and close in on championship leader Andre Castro. Today, Castro will have to come from fourth on the grid while Arthur starts on pole, but there are a host of TC drivers aiming to play spoiler as the season enters the second half. Hello, I'm Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside. It'll be Amanda Busick down in the pit lane on a sunny Georgia morning where Calvin temperatures already are climbing into the 80s on the Fahrenheit scale.
Yeah, that sun was extreme when we walked out of the hotel here this morning. Ryan, so it's going to be a torturous test for all of the drivers and the teams, even though it's relatively early in the day. And for Braden Arthur, boy, did he need to stem that tide. 50-point swing at Sebring to Andre Castro, giving him the championship lead, but Braden Arthur came back in a big way here yesterday. He's got a lot of challenges, though, on the front row of the grid. Jeff Ricker is back, and he's going to sit outside him at the green flag here this morning.
Right. That is going to add some spice, I suspect, to the start of this race. In race 2, if it's anything like race 1, that should be a lot of fun. A look back on race number 1 of the weekend for TC America, powered by Skip Barber, and it was the Toyota Corolla of Braden Arthur starting on pole position. He was able to grab that lead, and it was a fight amongst the Hyundai camp behind. Real challenge there, but Castro was able to hang on to the second spot. Big charge up through the field for Dean Lambrose, who had to start out back. He was the big mover in the opening laps. Logan Anderson, his teammate, also in the wars in the early going, able to make a pass there. Quite a wild ride for Jesse Dorkin in one of the Corollas from JMF. Similar for Shelby Mills. He was trying to hang on to a position, ultimately had to give it up. Mike Lamara, one of 2 cars to hit stripe. That fire took him out of the race, and he will not take part in the race today. And this mechanical failure means the end of the weekend for Eric Coons as well. A scary moment, but Eric was all right. Behind the safety car, though, it was Braden Arthur bouncing back to grab race 1 victory. And that sets the scene then for race number 2. Andre Castro knows he might be on the back foot a bit this weekend. Horses for courses, as you like to say, Cal. The Corolla might have the legs on the Hyundai, at least based on race 1. But for Castro, his focus has to be on minimizing the damage.
He does, and I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of a team discussion overnight, and certainly this morning with Jeff Ricker, the team boss, who's back in action, coming off a championship win last year, 8 victories. You can always get the job done, but you got to feel that he's going to try and play a part in this, and how, if he could get the jump on Braden Arthur, let's kind of lay it out for them. If they could get the jump, they get Jeff Ricker up front, then allow Castro and Gravett to go to work on Arthur, and then maybe reverse some positions. But if Braden gets the jump like he did yesterday, and there may be nothing that the Hyundai camp can do here this morning.
How about the man starting at third? You mentioned him, Justin Gravett, maybe a bit under the radar when it comes to the championship fight, getting a lot of the headlines as well as the return of the champion in Jeff Ricker. But he's quietly put together a nice season, 3 consecutive podiums coming into this race.
Yeah, he's been super impressive. I think he's got a lot of speed, and I think he's starting to get a little bit more confidence as well. So, yeah, there's a championship on the line, and Andre Castro has the lead. But Gravett's not out of this thing. There's a long way to go in this championship season. We're only at the halfway point here this morning, so he's got to do what's best for him. So don't get too rough and tough with your teammates, but certainly make sure that you're getting the best possible result here.
And we saw at Sebring just how quickly your fortunes can change.
Oh, absolutely. If there's suddenly issues for either of those championship front runners right now, Gravett could really take advantage of that and suddenly be a threat by the time we get to Road America.
Braden Arthur had the chance to talk to him yesterday. Very philosophical, very circumspect about the misfortune at Sebring, but that said, focusing here on trying to maximize his performance. And you know what, give credit to the team as well. Team and driver alike have really unlocked some pace potential out of this car.
Yeah, I think both the driver, Braden Arthur, and certainly that JMF team, they've developed and got so much more experience and poise. So I think Danny Cook does a great job of just taking hold of these young drivers and just like putting it all in perspective. There's a long way to go. Yes, a disappointing weekend. No one's happy about what happened there with the technical issues they had with the race car. But let's focus forward and just do one step at a time. And they did a great job yesterday cutting. There's big swings between first and seconds. So suddenly that 30-point margin can be cut into in a hurry. 7 points yesterday, do the same again, then suddenly it's looking a lot better.
Whole new ball game at that point, as we are now moments away from the command to start engines down on the grid. And there is the signal for 11 TC America cars to fire up again. 2 casualties from yesterday. Mike Lamara with his fire. That car unable to make the early morning start time today. And then Eric Coons, the big accident. Obviously, that car suffered some damage. We wondered, might Jeff Rica step out of his car for one of his full season customers to step in? That option, as we understand, was given to Eric Coons, but he decided to sit this one out, and that was a pretty frightening moment yesterday. Obviously, some aches and pains accompanying a big impact like that one.
Yeah, and I think when you have a technical failure, which we believe it was the left front suspension let go in some way, it's not only a physical hit, it's also a mental hit. So to jump into a slightly different race car, yes, same team, same platform, but to go out there and get right back into it, I think they're going to just take a breath and come back at Road America.
And there is a nice break as well to get prepared for that next challenge, the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa, the tentpole event for SRO coming up here shortly, and SRO America taking a pause in conjunction with that. Here's the starting grid. Braden Arthur on pole position. Jeff Rica, last year's champion, will start in second place. Gravit on that string of 3 straight podiums will start third, and the championship leader, Andre Castro, back in fourth. Then it's Skip Barber Racing teammates Dean Lambrose and Logan Anderson. They were a big part of the show yesterday. They start 5th and 6th. Shelby Mills and Jesse Dorkin starting 7th and 8th in a Hyundai and Toyota, respectively. Then it's James Klimas, just his 2nd start this season, and the veteran PJ Gronke, just his 2nd start ever at this track. And out back, Robert Bellevue for DRS in the lone BMW in the field. That's how they'll line up for the second race of the weekend. Halfway point of the season has been reached. Championship coming into focus somewhat, but as Calvin alluded to, it's not done and dusted yet. Still a lot to play for and quite a few races left on the schedule. Safety car lights are off, and the field now under the control of Braden Arthur, making its way down the hill here around this 2.5-mile, 12-turn track. One of the more challenging tracks on the schedule, and for many of these drivers, it's a first trip to Road Atlanta. This one's not been on the SRO America calendar in some 15 years. For the bridge they go, just waiting for the pole sitter Braden Arthur to take the start. Already Jeff Rica starting to crowd him a little bit from the outside of the front row. Arthur trying to get the jump, but Rica stays with him a little bit better than Castro did a day ago. Side drafting, maybe some contact down the front straightaway. This is Rica trying to have his say in the outcome of this race, but give Braden Arthur credit. He was able to withstand the challenge.
Yeah, argy-bargy there on the opening lap. We can see it. And look at this move by Lambrose. He takes 2 positions in 1 hit up into turn 3.
Castro really on the back foot. He lost another spot. Shelby Mills slots in and takes a position away. So a disastrous start to the race.
Lambrose sideways down through the S's.
Wow. Had his hands full, did a great job to hang on to it. He was the big mover yesterday, starting out back. He made up half the field in 2 laps. He starts in the middle of the pack here today and is not wasting any time jumping up to 3rd.
Yeah, what an amazing opening lap we're looking at there. We saw the argy-bargy between the 2 front row sitters, and Braden Arthur just held station. Jeff Rica obviously wanted to get to the front and try and manage this race for his teammates. And then you saw Castro and Gravit go side by side. Car off there coming down through turn 3.
Yeah, that's the teammate.
Anderson, I believe.
Yes, to Lambrose. That is Anderson. And full course yellow comes out, gives us a moment to reset. What a frantic start to this race, and it began coming to the green flag, Calvin, with Jeff Rica doing his best to stay alongside Braden Arthur into turn 1.
Yeah, as they came down the hill, it looked to me like Braden Arthur was trying to force Rica a little bit to the left, so it would make it difficult for him to get on the gas. Rica said, I'm having none of that, and I think there was definitely a couple of touches. And then you had the 2 teammates of Gravit and Castro going side by side up the hill through turn 1. I think they compromised each other's speed, and that gave Lambrose a huge head of steam there to make that brilliant move.
Field comes across to complete the first lap, but at abated speed. Full course yellow due to the stranded car of Logan Anderson, who had a decent day yesterday. Certainly was in the middle of the fight. But looks like he'll take no further part in the race here today. 6th in race number 1. That was his 2nd best finish of the season.
Yeah, and you're kind of in no man's land there with a technical issue. It's kind of on its own island there, so tough to get that car out of harm's way. So we said yesterday was the first yellow, right, of the season.
Yes.
For the issue that Kuhn's had down in turn 6.
And first in race yellow in a year and a half, because the only yellow of the season came for a formation lap crash a year ago in the final race of the year. So unfortunately, now 2 days in a row, we've had an interruption here in TC America, and that really does impact these races. They're quite short, just 35 minutes. Longer than last year, admittedly, when we saw 25-minute races for this championship, but this has the chance to eat away a decent chunk of race time.
Yeah, it certainly does. Certainly going to give Castro, who sits there in P6, time to think about, uh-oh, this is one I didn't draw up. The plan was not looking like this morning at breakfast.
Well, points as they run, my rough math says, with Castro all the way down in 6th, Arthur as the leader, it would be a 6-point deficit now for Arthur if they finish as they run, which is pretty unlikely. But just to give you an idea of how big of a swing this is, that start for Castro dropping back 2 spots at the drop of the green flag, that is something he needs to make up for, and quickly.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be thinking, how do I get back to a podium position? You got to think maybe Jeff Ricker will help that situation out if need be at the end of this race, but just got to wait and see what happens. There's a lot of other feisty competitors there mid-pack who are not going to make it easy for Castro, our championship leader, to get back towards the big paying points.
And it's an interesting dynamic because several of the cars in front are teammates, but at this stage in the year, you're kind of out for yourself, right?
Absolutely, and I think Jeff Rick has certainly showcased that he's up for doing whatever it takes there to help the course for his team.
Here comes the field, looking to restart the race. Cleanup already complete. Credit to the track crew here in Road Atlanta for getting the stricken car of Logan Anderson out of the way. And now Braden Arthur will try and withstand the challenge on the restart. A slow getting going, and it looks like Rick has got a decent head of steam built up behind. Lambro's looking aggressive as well. So is Gravett, and now Castro too, poking his nose out of line, and yet they still stay single file through 1.
See what Lambro can do. He's certainly showcased that he can get up on the wheel early in these races. He's got great natural car control. He's willing to throw it around here if he can make some moves in that Acura. They're sitting in P3 as they slide down through the S's.
Good getaway for Arthur. Able to consolidate that advantage. Rick now trying to get into his rhythm. Tough ask for him to come off the couch. I mean, I'm sure he's active driving, but he hasn't been racing, at least in this championship this year, and he has now an important part to play for his teammates' championship bid.
Absolutely, and I think this championship has certainly got a lot tougher in terms of the level of competition. Even though Jeff kind of dominated things last year, I think it would have been a different story this year had he campaigned a full season, but nonetheless, he's a super talented driver and a great team boss, but he's got a lot of thinking to do right now. He can't see any of his teammates in front or behind him directly.
Under some pressure, actually, now from Lambros, who's been the man on the move really all weekend long. Pokes the nose out of line momentarily, battle behind, and that's Dorkin, I believe, taking a peek to the inside of Castro. That is another position lost by the championship leader. Jesse Dorkin up another spot.
Castro's in trouble here. I'm not sure if he's got some kind of technical issue where the car's not fully on song, but he's certainly dropping like a stone right now.
That's another couple of points swinging the way of Braden Arthur as they run. It would be just a 4-point deficit now in the championship. Jesse Dorkin teammates to Braden Arthur, so another case of a teammate having a part to play in this title chase.
Yeah, you got to wonder what the radio communication is with the JMF team right now, knowing that the championship leader is right behind the second car that they have in this field. 3 cars being entered here this weekend by JMF, so they're certainly building their arsenal to maybe go after the armada that Jeff Ricker seems to bring every single weekend.
How about that lap from Arthur? He just set the fastest lap of the race and was the quickest guy on track by 0.6 of a second the previous lap. Just reset the best first sector as he continues to build his lead over Jeff Ricker. Now you can see it. Arthur through the hairpin with that fastest lap, and behind Ricker doing everything he can just to keep pace.
Yeah, he certainly seems to have things under control. I'm sure he'd like to get it out to maybe 2 seconds, then try and manage the tires just in case there's another reset with a yellow later in this race. But certainly taking a little bit of a green flag time off the board helps that thought of having to manage these tires, even though, as you mentioned, Ryan, it's a relatively short 35-minute sprint.
Dean Lambros, no part to play, at least at this stage of the season, in the championship. So he can just be thinking about going for a big result. And Dean had a pretty good start to the year, all things considered. 3 straight podiums, Sonoma race 2, and then the pair of races at Coda, he was runner-up. But it's been since then, since he's been able to stand on the rostrum after one of these races.
Well, first thing first, he's going to want to maintain that podium position. But the other thing is when you look at the championship picture, he's currently 4th, but only a handful of points, 7 points behind Justin Gravett starting today's race. So he doesn't want to give those up. It's kind of a double, right? You're going to lose a handful and let the other competitor gain some. So that's certainly a big moment here in this race between those two.
Arthur continuing to build that advantage. He's got the best sector time in each of the 3 sectors. In our conversation with him yesterday, he feels, it would seem, very comfortable in the car, very comfortable with this team. Still a lot to learn coming out of GT4 racing a year ago. There's the team boss, John Farrow, big smile on his face, and why not?
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to be very proud of the team and how they've been able to take on these multiple programs. Obviously running in GT World Challenge America and the trio of cars they got here today. Not running in GT4 any longer, which is a shame, but maybe they'll reassess that situation moving forward, depending on schedules and things like that. But yeah, they're doing everything right. For Braden Arthur, he had to bounce back, and he's shown that he's pretty resilient here in terms of his mental approach for this race weekend.
That's Shelby Mills shutting the door on Jesse Dorkin, who's looking for another spot. This is the best race we've seen Jesse Dorkin run here in his young career.
Big run there by Castro as they came out of 10B, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to get alongside. Now he has to give it up on the run down the hill into turn 12. Castro, does he panic here? Talk about just taking as many points as you can, but I'm thinking he was certainly thinking at least somewhere on the podium steps. Not deep in the pack, as he runs now in P7.
Not very patient, as you would expect here. He's got some ground to make up and not much time to do it. Just 25 minutes to go in this short race. Scott Dorkin in the crosshairs once again. Dorkin maybe bottled up a bit by Mills. It's the Gen Racer team watching on. Most of the season, that shot's been of Jeff Ricca, and he always has those pursed lips. It doesn't look all that pleased to be standing with a headset on instead of a helmet, but the opportunity popped up to jump back aboard the car here for this race weekend. And he's given the car a pretty good run. Finished just off the podium yesterday.
Yeah, I love your point there. Sometimes we wonder if it's a look of stress or whether he's just wishing he was out there competing himself.
Told him at Sebring that when we see that shot, we can almost see the thought bubble, you know, above his head, thinking about driving the car. And he said, yeah, that's pretty accurate, actually. That's pretty much what it's like.
Yeah, I would believe that Jeff Ricca is pretty direct in terms of the communication with team members and certainly drivers. That, yeah, oh, Dorkin through there, really wide.
That is a gift for Castro, who's able to pick up that spot. Now you gotta wonder, did that splitter dig into the gravel at all and maybe cause some damage?
Yeah, a little miscue there by Jesse. Just tried to roll too much speed there through 10A, and the front just washed out on him.
Had a good chat with him yesterday as well.
Super impressive young man. He really ticks all of the boxes, and I think JMF do a great job in their selection of drivers, not just solely from their speed, but also their off-track behavior, and they'll just be great representatives for any team or partners that they may have.
To look at it. Tails away, just trying to hang that outside and couldn't find the purchase as he looked for the grip.
Yeah, just no grip there offline there. It's a little bit dusty. It doesn't have the same rubber down, and probably a few marbles as well.
Credit where credit is due. Jeff Ricca is holding station, actually, maybe even reeling in Braden Arthur slightly over the last few laps. We saw some ebb and flow in the battle yesterday, didn't we, with Arthur and Castro giving chase. There were certain laps where Castro would close in, then Arthur would start to extend that margin again.
Yeah, and I think talking to Braden Arthur, he said, you know, we quizzed him on that, and he said, well, yeah, I was making a few mistakes. I wasn't super consistent, so I'm sure he's going to try and tidy that up here today. So we definitely saw like this concertina of the delta between the leaders, but I don't think he was ever under threat. I mean, certainly when we spoke to Castro post-race, he said I had nothing for him today. So I think that got us excited a little bit, like maybe there was something going on that was going to be renew the battle up front, but nonetheless, Braden did a great job, and he's kept that gap there right between 1.5 seconds and 2, and that's a comfort factor for him. He can just manage those tires and just look in the rearview mirror and make sure Rick is not getting any closer.
He is getting closer, though. It's down to just 1.1 seconds, at least at the line. And so what our timing and scoring screen was showing.
Well, Rick is going to keep the hammer down because right now there's nothing he can do by backpedaling and really helping the situation. Yes, that would move everyone up if he dropped to the tail end of the field, give Gravett, you know, a podium run, move Castro up a position, who's now in P5. He's gotten around Shelby Mills on this lap, so he's moving forward, which is good for our championship leader. But I think ideally for Rick, what he needs to do, if I can't promote my other guys, let me go after Arthur. If I can take away the big points, that'll minimize the damage for Andre Castro today.
Exactly. Gravett will be next for Castro. There is Gravett right there himself, putting pressure on Dean Lambrose. And that move he made at the start, making it 3 wide there, that was gutsy to say the least. And then he had that big slide a couple of corners later.
Yeah, really great stuff from Dean. I love the way he drives. He's got a lot of energy, and he showcases that energy behind the wheel as well.
Now on the defensive, though, Gravett looking a bit threatening. Shelby Mills defending against the resurgent Jesse Dorkin. Dorkin's been able to get alongside, just hasn't quite been able to complete that move yet. Yeah,
you can see the front bodywork is pretty muddied up. I think the splitter did kind of stay intact. Just like relation going on, can't quite tell at that sort of speed. But anyway, I think Jesse Dorkin by the end of this year is going to really start to move forward in this pack. I think he's learning a lot. He's obviously got some great raw talent. As we said, he's a super professional for such a young kid.
Told us he did about 12 years of karting. This is the first year, though, in cars, and there's a lot to learn. And he was very quick to credit Braden Arthur as a mentor, helping him adjust to this new challenge.
Yeah, and I think that's what they've built there at JMF, such a great structure and ladder system. And you know that Michael Grenier and Mackay Stevens are going to be there to help whenever he needs some advice. And that's what really fast-tracks some of these young drivers up the ladder and getting them to bigger levels and bigger classes.
Now watching Gravett continuing to put the pressure to Dean Lambrose for the final podium position. Again, Gravett's on that streak of 3 straight podiums. Would love to keep that going. For Dean, he'd love to get back on the podium for the first time since April.
This is part of the racetrack here down the hill. You can see him just try to break the draft a little bit. But with these temperatures, you've got to be very careful when you're following so closely. You don't get the car out of the thresholds with the temperatures and stuff. Otherwise, they have some safety. Oh, that's really late. Just able to arrest that speed before he got into the side of Shelby there at the apex.
Close quarters stuff from the former Colorado Karting Tour champion in Jesse Dorkin and Shelby Mills, who comes out of touring car and showroom stock style racing up in Canada. He's used to close quarters racing, no doubt about it.
Be a highlight reel here for Jesse. He had 2 wheels up in the air there coming through turn 12. He went for that ride yesterday at turn 5, so he's definitely given it some.
Lambrose through his snaking S's up and down through the countryside here at Road Atlanta, just outside of Atlanta proper in Brazelton. The track makes great use of the natural terrain.
It's only about 3 hours in traffic.
Yeah, you come at the wrong time, and it can take a little while.
This is a great battle, as we said. They run behind each other in the championships in P3 and P4, separated by just 7 markers. So this really could be a pivotal moment in this championship chase.
Lead is stabilized here. Rick has been able to get down to about 1.1, 1.2 seconds, but no closer. And actually, Braden Arthur just put in a great middle sector to extend the lead back over 1.5 seconds once again. Here comes Dorkin, back to the inside. This time he's more alongside Shelby than he's been. Shelby super late on the brakes, and somehow, yes, he does get it slowed down in time.
Wow, that was remarkable. We saw how late Jesse braked the previous lap, and he looked like he had the car in the right position, but then just gave up the braking a little bit earlier, thinking maybe he had it, and Shelby just took it in. So sometimes when you're on the normal racing line, it's easy to hit your marks. When you're in the middle of the racetrack, it's hard to figure out where is the braking point. versus depth perception into the corner. Some people like to really use a hard marker at the side of the racetrack, and suddenly that's not there for you.
It's a good scrap, though, and that is for 6th and 7th on the road. Just past the halfway mark now in TC America race number 2. John Farrow, the JMF in JMF Motorsports, has the car out in front. Braden Arthur trying to claw back into the championship picture, Amanda.
Hey guys, yeah, and I think I've found one of the best seats in the house here at Road Atlanta. One, because I'm by John Farrow, but also there's shade here. We got monitors, we got timing and scoring. But John, you've been following along with this Jesse Dorkin battle, but let's go to Braden. You were not mincing words and said that Sebring was just an absolute disaster. Imagine you like what you're seeing this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, we still got all the time in the world. We still got 6 more races after this, so I think we can do it.
Braden's a big part of this team. His job's not finished here today. What will he be doing tomorrow?
He'll be working in the pits, helping out.
Fire bottle.
Fire bottle. Yeah. No, he's a great kid. Great kid. I really have a lot of respect for him. He's very fast.
It is always really cute. We'll see Braden Arthur in his fire suit on Sunday working for the GT World Challenge team, and that for Mackay Stevens and Mikkel Grenier, and he always wears his race shoes along with that. I do want to talk about Jesse Dorkin because we've been following around with that battle as well. Watching his evolution this year, what have you seen?
Well, I mean, he's getting much better at what he's doing. Like his level of experience has been improving every week. You gotta remember, he's just a young kid from karting and not really been in a close car like this, so he's progressing very well. He's got a bright future.
Well, thank you to John Farrow, and if I can for just 1 second, the man with the best shoes in the paddock is always John Farrow. Take a look at those buddies. Farrow 34 on the back side too. My man.
And I like the socks as well. I know Richard Hay also likes a nice brightly colored sock. We were matching yesterday.
That's scary.
Yeah. Well, thanks to Richard for the kind gift. He brought back Eric Comas inspired socks from the GT1 days. Very cool, but you can't miss them. Anyway, back to what's happening on track. 15 minutes to go, and this fight here has been awesome. I mean, that last lap in this section, it was a move made, and then the crossover. They've been swapping this position back and forth really all race long.
They really have. It's been a tremendous battle, and as John Farrow alluded to, Jesse Dorkin is learning, and he's learning fast, and he's in an intense battle. He's just trying to figure out where the breaking point is down in that corner. He seems to be able to get that car in position, but let's see if he can execute and get it done before the checkered flag here this morning.
Closes in once again, not close enough to make a real lunge into turn number 1. Sits right there in the tire tracks, and 2 very different platforms. You can see visually the difference between the 2 cars, but it's a 4-wheel drive car in the form of the Toyota versus front-wheel drive of the Hyundai. And that is one thing we saw yesterday, at least we thought we did, that maybe the front-wheel drive cars were starting to struggle a bit more as we got deeper into the race.
Yeah, certainly from Braden Arthur's perspective, his car looked really strong towards the end, and he was certainly managing that. The all-wheel drive will certainly help that cause as well. But looks like the Hyundai has a slightly longer wheelbase, so that should settle the car down into some of those high-speed corners like turn 1 and turn 5. But, you know, I think with the Toyota, they've certainly got their hands wrapped around fully of that all-wheel drive system to give it great balance.
Comes Dorkin once again, sits in the slipstream of Shelby Mills. This is again the fight for 6th and 7th. Here comes Dorkin, pops out a line, edges ahead slightly into the braking zone. Could this be the time he's got the move made? Mills will counterattack, throws the car to the inside. Dorkin gives him space, and Mills will not go quietly into the good night. He takes it right back.
That is awesome stuff. I love it. Jesse's got me thinking, how did that happen again? Twice now I thought I got him beat, and suddenly Shelby just digs deep and manages to hold on to that position.
And this would be big for Shelby. This would match his season best result of 6th if he could hang on. Jesse Dorkin's got other ideas.
Yeah, I think for Jesse, he's just got to really just execute. He gets that car in a position. He's kind of middle of the road, just trying to keep Shelby out there. Shelby just took it a lot deeper a couple of laps ago, and that time he had the line. He should have been able to make that happen, but Shelby just kind of took it down to the inside again. Great racecraft there by catching the youngster by surprise.
The throngs of Hyundai supporters that are here in full force. There's a huge Hyundai car corral here this weekend at Road Atlanta.
It's been impressive to see,
Yeah.
just the huge line of cars waiting and getting to the racetrack every single day here from the Hyundai brand. So just love that car culture.
And they'll be cheering on Shelby Mills here in this battle, no question about it. Big weekend for the Hyundai brand as well as their sister brand Genesis. They'll be making their Le Mans debut in about 15 minutes with their new prototype, and unveiled the concept for a potential GT3 offering down the road. Here comes Dorkin once again, sweeping to the inside. Mills will again try and outbrake him, comes across the bow and takes the position right back.
Yeah, I think with Jesse, I mean, if I was him, I'd not be so wide coming down there all the way over to the left. You're picking up a lot of debris on the tires. When you get to the brake pedal, you're not going to have great grip. So I'd just try and keep it a little bit tighter to slide by Shelby and then get back on the racing line and just take it in deep on the rubbered in line and just make sure you get to the apex before Shelby, and then just try and execute through this next half lap and gap him a little bit.
Back up front, where Braden Arthur's lead is back over 2 seconds now. Jeff Ricka sits in second place. Then it's this battle for the final step of the podium. Gravitt chasing Dean Lambrose. It's Lambrose in the Skip Barber colors, the Acura, and Gravitt just behind in the traditional Hyundai in colors.
Yeah, and about 4 seconds back is Andre Castro. So just looking at the fast laps of the day, I mean, Castro's right there with some of his teammates. He's only a 10th off of Jeff Ricker, who's the fastest Hyundai so far today. So the speed is there. It just seemed like he got out-shuffled on that opening lap. Maybe he just couldn't get into his groove. Not sure if he got, you know, dirt on his tires. So on that restart, he wasn't ready to go. But been a difficult day for our championship leader. Sitting in P5, and as you said, that's a big point swing. 15-point swing here today. Came in with a 23-point lead. And that will really tighten things up as we head off to Road America at the end of August.
Had been running as far down the order as 7th for a time, back up to 5th now. So as they ran, when it was a 7th place position for Castro, it was only a 4-point lead, but it's now back to 8th. Dorkin might finally have the move made. It took him all the way to the bottom of the hill in turn 12. But he is now out in front of Shelby Mills, and Jesse Dorkin now finds himself up into 6th place. That was hard fought.
That really was. That was a fantastic battle. Let's see if he can hang on to it now and just hit his marks, keep it nice and clean. This is climbing the hill here. It's almost blind as you climb that hill. Trying to hit your marks is really, really difficult. You just gotta kind of use like trees and stuff off in the distance as like a sight line up through there to make, oh, and he's wide. Little mistake there, gets wide, gets on the curb there. Mills, is he going to try and force it? Oh, that was ugly. That was a little bit ugly there. Jesse's trying to recover, and Shelby thought he had an opportunity, but I was always going to tighten up at apex.
See if he can get himself extricated from the gravel. Yes, he can. The four-wheel drive might have helped there. You hate to see such a good scrap end like that. Started up in the S's when he got a little bit wide, and let's look at this again. He had just made the pass to get up to 6th. What do you see, Cal?
Well, he just gets into the dirt there a little bit, clips the curb, then runs out wide. You're always really forcing the car through there, and then right there, I think he had to read the situation that he wasn't quick enough, and Shelby was coming at him with a head of steam. Ideally, he should have given him a little bit more room there. Shelby would probably say, well, I had nowhere to go, I was committed, but he's then on the dirt as well, and just seems like Dorkin just came over towards the apex there at a reduced speed. So tough one for the race director to call on there.
It is under review with 8.5 minutes to go. That cost Dorkin several positions. So Mills back to 6th. Klimas and Gronke both got through to run 7th and 8th. And Dorkin's car did look like it picked up some damage. I thought I saw some bodywork perhaps flapping at the back of that car. Speaking of Klimas, he's now gotten around Mills, so maybe that car has been wounded as well.
Well, they were certainly delayed, right? So we had to come charging up on them. So we'll have to wait and see if Shelby does have any speed here as we watch and observe them for the next few laps.
Now, Klimas now is up into 6th place. Mills is dropping back potentially into the clutches of PJ Gronke, who is making his long-awaited Road Atlanta debut. Was coaxed out of potential retirement when Road Atlanta was put on the calendar. And he said this was one he absolutely had to check off the bucket list.
That's great. Great to see him here. And yeah, you've probably watched a ton of the races at Road Atlanta over the years. And for PJ to have that opportunity, he said, I've got to make it happen. So that's cool. And it seems like Shelby definitely has some issues there, as he looks like he's trying to get a little bit defensive coming off of turn 7. I wonder if that right front corner got hurt a little bit in that contact with Dawkin, and suddenly he's just not got the suspension settings that he had before, and it's costing him some time through the apex.
PJ through for the moment. We'll see how much Mills wants to fight or even can fight. Doesn't seem like he's too interested in doing anything of the sort at the moment. Possibly nursing a wounded car, so Gronke now past Mills up into 7th position. That would be a season best result for a 2-time class champion in TC America, PJ Gronke.
See him, they're just hopping that right rear wheel over the apex curve for turn 12. As you come through turn 1, you kind of feel you're, if you can't take a full commitment, you kind of feel you're on a radius that's not going to work, and then suddenly you just pick up grip as you get the elevation change after apex and climbing the hill up towards turn 2.
Gronke has left Mills behind. I do think that car was damaged.
Here we go. There's some change of positions here.
Okay.
No, actually, they're just compressed. So it looks like Ricker's come back to the pack a little bit. So we're looking at Ricker, Lambros, and Gravett there. Ambrose has got a run going here. Ricker's like on big defensive move, moving around here with his line here, trying to defend. Lambros got to be careful there. Wow, he takes it in deep. Can he keep it together? Can he keep the front end? No, he has to slow it down. He loses the front. Can Gravett time this and get off the corner and get the position done? I think he has got to the side, but Lambros is hanging in there.
Left just enough space, and Gravett kept the nose tucked into the inside, really tight at the apex. Oh, wow. What a slide from Lambros. He caught it, but it cost him some momentum. It's not done yet. Gravett counters it back to the outside, and here comes Castro as well.
Yeah, Castro now in the shadows, loving what he's seeing. Has certainly compressed this field. So Jeff Ricker has certainly compressed this little group at the front and maybe giving our championship leader some hope.
He is there. This is as close to the front as Andre Castro has been since the drop of the green flag when he was shuffled back from 4th on the grid to 6th on the opening lap. Fell back as far as 7th, and now maybe recovering. He's back to 5th place with 4th and 3rd just out front of the windscreen.
I have to wonder if Rick was just sitting there thinking, how can I help out my team right now? Okay, well, if I back things up and compress this little pack here, get Andre to the tail end of Gravett, and then see if they can both get around Lambros and both finish on the podium. But I have to think that's kind of his goal right now.
Maybe when it became clear that he wasn't going to catch Braden Arthur, this becomes the next best alternative with the team's fortunes in mind. Castro, though, still fighting that car. He ran a little wide there down in 7, dropped the wheels off, and that cost him a big run here down this long back straightaway.
Not sure if the Gen Racer team have radio communication between their drivers in a scenario like this, or whether this is just being orchestrated by the team boss at the head of this pack right now.
Don't know about them specifically, but I do know other TC teams over the years have had all of their drivers on the same communication channel.
Lambros, though, that was just great racing, both by he in terms of being defiant about giving up that position, and Gravett did a great job of not running into him on the exit of turn 12 there. That was really dicey.
By the way, you might have seen the graphic, but Shelby Mills was given a drive-through penalty for incident responsibility. He's just served that. That's dropped him down to 10th, so Dorkin now back to 8th. And Dr. Robert Bellevue is in 9th place. If he can hang on to that, that would be his best result of the season. He's finished 10th a couple of times. But he's coming to grips with modern race cars really for the first time in his career. Comes out of vintage racing, and he's done a nice job just working his way slowly up to speed. Finds himself in 9th.
Okay, 3 minutes to go. What does Ricker do? Does he decide to back things up a little bit, try and create a little bit more of a sporty situation for his teammates sitting there in the top 5?
Arthur's lead has ballooned. He is unchallenged now, 4 seconds to the good ahead of Ricca. Here comes Ricca with Lambros behind. Gravett trying to keep pace, but there's a pretty good gap between the cars here, evenly spaced, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be the charge that they had a little moment ago on Lambros and Gravett and Castro, so things have kind of settled down a little bit once again. I think it's really going to only happen for Castro or Gravett if Ricker just backs things up once again. It seems like he's doing it again down this front straightaway. I think he's definitely playing a game here of just trying to give his teammates an opportunity to go and attack the tail end of that Acura in front of them.
Time for just 2 more laps. This one and 1 more. Should see the white flag next time by. Arthur's lead continues to grow.
Castro's dropping back a little bit.
Yeah.
Surprising. He's at decent pace. I've been watching his lap times and he is right there. I'm not sure if he's just struggling with something with that's intermittent, or just the handling is not underneath him and it's not able to give him and deliver him good consistent lap times.
Well, let's go back to the restart from that first full course yellow, and he dropped back, and it did seem like maybe he was dealing with some kind of intermittent issue with that car that he's been able to fight through. But
high temperatures, of course, we talked
Sure.
about that coming into this weekend, and certainly this morning it was a scorcher at sunrise even, so not sure if he's kind of been dancing on that fine line where some of those safety nets kick in from essentially a production-based car here. Yes, they're race cars, but they're essentially production-based, so there's certain things that you can't take out of them that will kick in if you get to extreme temperatures.
it is cooler this morning than it was during the race yesterday, but it still is hot enough.
Ricker, I feel, is definitely managing this. He's just trying to really not just give up the position so Lambros gets ahead, but he's definitely trying to just back him up, I feel.
White flag for Braden Arthur, who's looking to win back-to-back races here at Road Atlanta. But who comes in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th? That's all very much up for grabs with 2.5 miles to go.
Lambros in a predicament here. It's been a really strong day for him. Great opening lap, making that move up into turn 3 was sensational stuff. Then the big slide for life down through here. Right here, he had a big moment on that opening lap. He's hitting the curb there a little bit too aggressively. Gravett just needs to tee him up here. He's got to really work hard here. Final lap, just handful of corners to go.
Gravett's streak of 3 consecutive podiums. Easy in jeopardy, needs to get 1 more spot.
Watch turn 7 here. Does Ricker park it on apex and just try and give his teammate an opportunity here?
This is the corner in question. Ricca pulling to the inside, seemingly. Definitely playing the games here. He's got his blinker on.
Yeah, I think he's going to give up these positions, I believe, but he's going to try and see if his teammate can get up there and challenge Lambros. Don't be surprised to Ricker to suddenly drop back to P5 by the checkered flag here.
Yeah, he's thinking about his full season customers there, letting that fight come on through, and sure enough, Castro comes through as well, trying to maximize his day and minimize the loss in the championship. But Braden Arthur bounces back from disappointment at Sebring with consecutive wins. He sweeps the weekend at Road Atlanta. Lambros comes home 2nd, Gravett back on the podium in 3rd, and Castro a 4th place finish to at least prevent losing too much more ground to Arthur, who suddenly finds himself right back in the championship fight.
Yeah, huge day. Big swing, 13-point swing there, so that'll mean it's a 10-point deficit, I believe, going into Road America. There we go, PJ.
Climbers just
solid
crossed
run.
the line in 6th. PJ Gronke sees the checkered flag. 7th place, best result of the season. Jesse Dorkin was trying to chase him down. Jesse comes home 8th, which really doesn't tell the full story of how competitive he was here today.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to look at the fast lap for Jesse Dorkin. Only 7/10 off his teammate who won this race, so that's really a really impressive speed. He's just got to work a little bit on the racecraft here and tidy things up, but a very spirited performance nonetheless.
Here is Robert Bellevue. Talked about him earlier. This would be the best result of his first season of TC America Racing in this BMW run by Chris Valdez and DRS. Beautiful car, sees the checkered flag. 9th place today for Robert Bellevue. Well, we said things can change in a hurry. Braden Arthur found that to his detriment at Sebring, where he finished down to the points in consecutive races with 2 DNFs, but he has turned a 30-point deficit into a 10-point deficit with still 6 races to go. And as his team owner, John Farrow, said, there is still a lot of racing left to do, plenty of time.
Yeah, I can't wait for Amanda to talk to him, and he's going to be certainly fired up. But I wonder what he was thinking when he had that little battle even before the green flag this morning with Jeff Ricker. He's got to be feeling that team was ganging up on me a little bit, but he came through to sweep the weekend and really minimize the points damage after Sebring.
He'll have a smile on his face, no doubt, and then he'll go into crew member mode when he helps the team's GT3 effort. They'll be on track for qualifying this evening. 5:20, our coverage begins, local time here at Road Atlanta. And then the 3-hour GT World Challenge America race will be tomorrow afternoon. Provisional race results for race number 2, Braden Arthur by 4.6 seconds in the final analysis over Dean Lambrose, who finishes a very strong second. He was the show much of the weekend. That is his 3rd runner-up result of the season. Gravitt back on the podium for the 4th straight race. Then Castro, the championship leader, but now only by 10 points in 4th. Jeff Ricker dropped to 5th there on the final lap ahead of James Klimas. PJ Gronke, will this be the final time we see the champion here in this series? To be determined, but great to have PJ's smiley face here once again. Jesse Dorkin in 8th, Bellevue in 9th, Shelby Mills down in 10th. But a thanks to Mills and Dorkin for putting on a show for the better part of 20 minutes.
That was an awesome battle. Yeah, Jesse had great speed here today, and he'll be a little bit disappointed with the end result, but nonetheless just a good, promising performance. Looking forward to the rest of the season. Still 6 races to go. I think Jesse's going to be knocking on the door top 5s at least here pretty soon.
Now there's Braden Arthur, who, when he has seen the checkered flag, has not finished worse than 2nd all year. The trouble is those 2 DNFs at Sebring, which opened the door for Andre Castro to take what at the time felt like a commanding lead.
Well done, man.
Dean Lambrose might have only been a runner-up finish, but he's still pretty fired up.
Yeah, I'm not
Great
sure
job.
the last time we saw a result without Hyundai in the top 2 either. It's been a while.
That is a good point. We'll have to think about that for a moment, but let's head down to Amanda and hear from our race winner.
And check out the emotions for Braden Arthur. Climbed out of his race car just on such a high and such a difference from Sebring. Why does this put you right back in it, Braden?
Well, I think, you know, keeping my head underneath me coming out of Sebring was a big help. Keeping, you know, just good thoughts in my brain for Road Atlanta. I knew it was a track I've never been to, but I'm fairly okay at learning new tracks, so I had that in my back pocket, and the team did a great job getting the car perfect for this track, honestly. I had a lot of fun driving. Yeah, I'm just relieved. Big, deep breath now. Just a sigh of relief.
Perfect for this track and a perfect weekend for Braden Arthur. But as we said, his job's not done. We'll see him tomorrow in GT World Challenge America. As I get over to Dean Lambrose, who, what did I hear in the background of that interview? Why are you so happy?
Just a lot of passion, you know. This crew, I did my part, but I just want to talk about this team. You know, these guys slept in the trailer for the last 2 nights. Last night, they slept at the hotel for the first time all week. So we had a terrible practice. Thing broke on me, so we didn't get to qualify, and start from the back, worked our way to 5th, and then went 3 wide into 3. I mean, you can't get better than that right now. So I'm pretty proud of this team. I just did my part, but this team did a great job all weekend. I'd like to thank Skip Barber, race team, Gabby, Fabio, all the guys involved, Anthony, DeMonte, my parents, my brother, showing me the ways. It's a great day.
We know that Dean Lambros has a lot of passion. He's been sending emails all season long to recap on what this means to him this season. And guys, I did confirm with PJ right before we started this interview walk that this is probably our last interview with PJ Gronke as he closes out his career right here at Road Atlanta. And when you look at your body of work, PJ, what has racing given your life?
It's given me everything. I'm just a big kid that got to live my dream, and I got to do it with so many incredible sponsors and people. I can't thank them all enough, from JP and Amber at Tundra and Talanet, Richard at Joseph Gas and Welder's Helper, Sam and Enza at Vesticon, Gareth and Celeste at Eventscape, Kevin, Sean and Peta at Cabanos, and everyone else on this bloody car. I've accomplished everything I wanted to do. I've got 3 championships to my name, 4 team championships, 3 manufacturer championships. You bloody guys put Road Atlanta on the calendar, so you didn't get rid of me yet. And I can't thank everyone enough for making this big kid's dream come true. It's been an absolute honor.
It's been an honor to cover you, PJ, and I know I'm not supposed to do this broadcast one-on-one, but from everyone in the TV truck, from myself and for the series, I'm gonna give you a hug. This is it.
Yeah, I'm done unless a miracle happens. So it was a pleasure and honor, and all the best times with you.
We'll miss you.
Yeah, I miss you too.
Well done, my friend. Congratulations. Chapeau indeed to a fantastic career. Capped off by a strong run today. Best result of the season in 7th place. One of the true gentlemen in the paddock and someone who embodies what touring car racing is all about.
Yeah, you're not going to find a more passionate racer in our paddock, that's for sure. PJ, congratulations.
Well done indeed. Fantastic into a strong weekend. A look back here at race number 2 that saw Braden Arthur lead the field to green with Jeff Ricca alongside. Jeff tried to crowd him down into turn number 1, but it wasn't enough. Arthur was able to hang on to that top spot, which he managed then for the rest of the race. But how about this move? Dean Lambros from 5th on the grid jumps to 3rd in one fell swoop. Unfortunately, it was bad luck for his teammate Logan Anderson, who was dead stick on the first lap, which brought out the only full course yellow of the race. Jesse Dorkin battling with Shelby Mills. That took 20 minutes for him to finally get ahead, but then this miscue opened the door for Mills, who took what turned out to be an ill-advised lunge to the inside. He was penalized for that contact. He and Dorkin finished in 10th and 8th respectively. Final lap saw Jeff Ricca give way to the full season drivers. No one could catch Braden Arthur, who won for the 5th time this season and claws back into the championship. And there is the podium with Braden Arthur sharing the top step with the Masters victor, PJ Gronke, who is putting the final bow on a wonderful career that has seen him win multiple championships in this series, and he'll share the podium with a couple of his countrymen. How about Canada represented up on that podium there?
Yeah, really cool. You can see everyone's thoroughly enjoyed the experience. It was hard work, even though it was a 35-minute sprint. You can see the boys are working hard behind the wheel.
Let's look and see how race 2 has affected the championship. Remember, it was a 30-point lead for Andre Castro coming in. Even I can do that math without a calculator. Just 10 now separating the top 2. Braden Arthur with a pair of wins. He's right back in the fight. Justin Gravitt still not solidified in 3rd. Lambros with that runner-up spot now within 4 points of 3rd place. Eric Coons didn't get to race today after the big crash yesterday. Finds himself in 5th. And Logan Anderson didn't get any points today with his technical issue, down in 6th place. But it's going to be a thrilling fight, it would appear, for the rest of the season. Still 6 races to go in TC America, powered by Skip Barber. Coming up next, after a lengthy break, a trip to Road America, August 28th through the 30th.